Daily Trust News Center, this is the News Hour.
On News Hour tonight, Nigeria Labour Congress begins nationwide strike on Wednesday over subsidy. President Tinubu appoints Chief of Staff Secretary to the Government of the Federation, meets APC state governors. Troops rescue 10 kidnapped victims, kill scores of bandits in Zamfara State. And on the foreign scene, Sudan fighting intensifies despite U.S. sanctions as death toll hits over 1,800. Hello and welcome to Trust News Update. Trust News Hour. I am Abdurrahman Omar. Thanks for joining. The Nigerian Labour Congress (NLC) has declared a nationwide strike from next Wednesday to force government fuel subsidy removal. The organized labor takes the position after an emergency meeting of the National Executive Council of the NLC headed by its president Joe Ajero in Abuja on Friday. Kabiru Lawan reports.
Forward, ever, backward, never.
The Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation Limited on Wednesday hiked fuel price from 195 naira to over 500 naira across its retail outlets nationwide. The union leaders accused the NNPCL of fixing prices arbitrarily, saying if allowed to stay, it will subject workers to undue suffering as well as other Nigerians. Nigeria Labour Congress President Joe Ajero called on the government to reverse the fuel subsidy removal in the interest of Nigerian economy. Failure to reverse to old price, the meeting said, will leave the NLC with no option but to mobilize workers for a nationwide strike starting from Wednesday next week.
The NLC decided that if by Wednesday next week that the NNPC, a private limited liability company that illegally announced a price regime in the oil sector, refuses to revert itself for negotiation to continue, that the Nigerian Labour Congress and all its affiliates will withdraw their services and commence protests nationwide.
Ajero explained that if the government wants to remove fuel subsidy, it needs to consult critical stakeholders to arrive at alternatives and how to cushion its negative effect on the people.
Until this is complied with, and that NNPC doesn't have the monopoly to act illegally, even as a private company. The NLC NEC therefore directed all state councils and all industrial unions to commence mobilization from this moment.
Nigerian Labour Congress Counsel Femi Falano San explained that government must find alternative to subsidy removal as ensuring welfare of people is the primary responsibility imposed on it by the Constitution.
NNPC Limited, a private company, was alleged to have fixed the prices of petroleum products or jacked up the price. This is clearly illegal. There's no provision for it under the law. So we hope that the government will have to go back to the drawing table and take the whole month, the month of June, to meet with relevant stakeholders, to plan and look for alternative solutions to the problem.
Fuel queues have resurfaced and transport fare increased since the subsidy removal was announced. Kabir Lawal, Trust TV News, Abuja.
Governors of the All Progressive Congress (APC) have condemned the outrageous price of petrol set by the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, who they say has taken advantage of the subsidy removal to fleece consumers. The APC governors, however, defended President Bola Tinubu's decision to respect the provision of the Petroleum Industry Act that outlaws the payment of petrol subsidy beyond June this year. Kendi Amudu reports.
The APC governors may say they are at State House to congratulate President Bola Tinubu for a successful inauguration, but the real reasons for the visit is eventually let out of the bag. The The president's announcement on the withdrawal of fuel subsidy payment has had an instant ripple effect across the country. The stance of government is clearly enunciated.
Decisions that we have seen, and I thank you for supporting, for encouraging all of this, is one, I inherited, and it is fundamental, inherit the asset and liability of my predecessor. That's it.
We should all be aware of the consequences of unveiling a masquerade. The oil scam cabal is a very, very powerful cabal that are dangerously loaded, and they will go out of their way to undermine this great initiative by Mr. President.
On the one hand, the governors are defending the decision to stop the payment of petrol subsidy and are offering their support.
Are prepared to work with you, sir, as you would want us to, in looking at how to manage this situation.
What this audience is promising you, sir, is you have a total unalloyed commitment and loyalty.
You will find a lot of competencies among the governors. You will find people who are willing to make sacrifices in order to ensure that your vision is achieved.
On the other hand, they see the astronomical price increase by the NNPCL and petrol marketers as premature.
From May 2019 today, I'm not aware that any petroleum marketer has imported any product. All the products in their storage facilities are those already imported, subsidized by government. Why the rush to increase the prices?
This kind of meeting between the president and Progressives Governors Forum is the first of many more meetings that will help the APC administration plan and coordinate the implementation of policies, plans, and programs in its manifesto. At the meeting, President Tinubu announced his first set of appointments. The appointment indicates that President Tinubu has set the ball rolling and is prepared to take on the task of governance. From State House Abuja, Kehinde Amudu, Trust TV News.
President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has announced the appointment of Speaker of House of Representatives Femi Bajabiamila as Chief of Staff and Senator Ibrahim Hassan Hadija, a former Deputy Governor of Jigawa State, as Deputy Chief of Staff. The announcement was contained in a statement issued by Director of Information Abiodun Oladunje. Oladunje said the President also named former Governor of Benue State and former Minister of Special Duties George Akume Secretary to the Government of the Federation, SGF. Bajabiamila was said to have been seen today being taken around the office of the Chief of Staff by staff in the presidential villa. Meanwhile, President Bola Tinubu met with his Chief of Staff, Femi Bajabiamila, and new Secretary of the Government of the Federation, George Akume, on Friday evening. And he also met with several other persons, including some of the governors that served alongside him between 1999 and 2007. These include former Governor of Kebbi State, Adam Waliru, former Governor of Ogun State, Olusegun Osoba, and former Governor of Delta State, 1999 to 2007, James Ebori. The President also received in audience former Governor of Rivers State, Nyesom Woki, and Governor Shea Makinde of Oyo State, who are both members of the opposition People's Democratic Party. The two men are, however, considered allies of President Tinubu and might have played supportive roles to ensure his victory at the elections. In the meantime, commercial tricycle operators in Bauchi State have expressed anger over the fuel subsidy removal, saying the action is not in the interest of the masses, while others have contrary views. Trust TV Adam now reports.
Commercial tricycle operators in Bauchi are lamenting the recent increase in fuel pump price. Transport fares have gone up, forcing many passengers to find alternative means of reaching their destinations, leaving operators with low patronage. For instance, I always buy at least 5 to 6 liters of fuel. Now it costs me 3,300 naira, unlike before. What are we gaining now? Can we say we are slaves of the government or what? This is what we depend on to feed our family. So if care is not taken, our mindset will change, and instead of peaceful disposition, we can be the opposite. This kind of work is so tedious, but we don't have any business apart from it. So if we buy expensive fuel and we tell our passengers our fare, they may say they don't have that kind of money. What then can we do? Some Bauchi residents bear their minds on the raging debate on fuel subsidy removal.
I'm 100% support of the fuel subsidy removal by the present administration. My reasons are, even though the common man are not even benefiting from the fuel subsidy, for a long time, this is an issue that has been lingering for so many decades. So what we are appealing to the present administration is that they should try at least to bring a palliative that will cushion the hardship on the common man.
The entire summation of the economic composition of the country should be affected. So I'm appealing for the president and including the NNPC and the critical stakeholders in the best interest of the masses and in the best interest of this country. They should please consider the current situation we are in.
Talks between labor leaders and government ended in a stalemate on Wednesday, and workers are threatening nationwide strike. Adamu Imam, Trust TV News, Bauchi.
Following the pronouncement of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu on the removal of fuel subsidy, oil marketers across the country have increased the price of the premium motor spirit popularly called petrol, a situation that has resulted to long queues in filling stations. A cross-section of residents in Lafia, the Nasarawa state capital, expressed concern over the sudden hike in price of the commodity, which they say has affected virtually all aspects of human life. They are urging the federal government to fashion out modalities that will ameliorate hardship occasioned by the new pump price. A check around some filling stations in Lafia indicates that the commodity, which was earlier sold at 200 naira, is now sold for 550 naira per litre, while at NNPC Mega Station, the petrol is now sold for 537 per litre.
Taking the subsidy out now has become a problem to people. We are enter the transport from here to Akwanga, Lafia to Akwanga before is 500 naira, but now it's 1,500 naira, 1,200. Depends how you go. So in fact, we are not finding it easy.
Implementing price because many of our workers drinking going to work. It's not appreciating at all. But I pray with time, God will make it stable.
I'm appealing to the federal government to reduce the fuel price. That is our cry. We can't afford it. We are not working, or even the service we are in now. We are not paying much. They take 3,000 naira, we use it for transport. At the end of the day, we go home with nothing.
The subsidy crisis is affecting every Nigerian because of the importance of the petroleum commodity for daily needs. In Makurdi, Jamie Azande reports that some travelers were stranded at the motor parks because of the rise in transport fares. Report.
It was COVID-19, currency redesign, and now fuel subsidy crisis among other hardships faced by Nigerians in recent times. In Makurdi, there is low vehicular movement because most people cannot afford to buy fuel. There was commotion at the motor parks for intending travelers who came face to face with the reality of subsidy crisis.
Then from Ogene to Makurdi, before they were collecting 3,500 before, but yesterday was 7,000. So everything was double. So people are getting it too hard.
Half load, I pay 2,000, but this one they're charging 4,000. And last week I traveled from Kanu down here, I pay 8,000, and now it's 10,000. You know, all those cars, some place where we are used to pay 100 is 200 now. Some places we are paid 50 naira, they are collect 120, 150 with a bag.
The transporters, like the travelers, also lamented that it has been a difficult time for businesses since the presidential pronouncement.
We run to Makurdi, from Makurdi to Port Harcourt. Before now, our transport fare was 8,000, and we could balance well with the price of 8,000. But since the subsidy removal, it has become difficult. Like on the first, we added 1,000 naira to 8,000. We took for 9,000. We couldn't balance. And today being second, we have added again to 10,000. After today, we still monitor it. This time is a very difficult time for passengers and company owners. Very difficult time because there is no money.
Others feel the oil marketers have never been fair to the public. They, however, express hope in the future.
Generally, not even in the park here only. Yeah. Even when you are transport from your house to the park, you will pay huge amount of money. Transport of 100 naira now is 200 naira. And some people like me now, I do pay 150 to come down here on bike, but today I paid 250 naira to come down here. So the situation is not that easy. Normally, from my own experience, fuel has been in high price. Yeah, it's only few stations that do sell in the normal price. But the situation this time around actually is very, very difficult to know.
As at the time of this report, almost all gas stations in Makurdi were dispensing the PMS or fuel at a price of between 540 and 600 naira.
And on security, 10 kidnapped victims have regained their freedom in Zamfara State, and they were rescued by the troops of the Joint Task Force northwest of Operation Hadarin Daji after conducting a clearance operation in the Shinkapi local government area of the state. The troops also killed several terrorists in the Anka local government area of Zamfara State. Trust TV gathered that the military operations were conducted on Tuesday, May 30th and Wednesday, May 31st across the two local government areas. During the clearance operation, the troops also recovered 8 live cartridges, 4 AK-47 rifles, 1 PTK machine gun, 3 motorcycles, and several pieces of special ammunition. Troops also responded quickly by blocking the route which led to Dan Company illegal mining site. On sighting the troops, the suspected Korean man abandoned his motorcycle and a big bag containing 46 military jungle hats, 26 camouflage t-shirts, 2 desert boots, 14 different variants of military camouflage uniforms, and 1 desert hand glove at the scene. An 18-year-old girl, Wasilat Yusuf from Ibadan, Oyo State, has been intercepted by men of the Nigeria Immigration Service at the Ori border base in Kebbi State on her way to Libya through Ilela border in Sokoto State. Addressing journalists in Birnin Kebbi, State Comptroller of Immigration, Rabi Bashir Nuhu, said the teenager was a victim of human traffickers. She added that she was brought to the state headquarters of NIS in Birnin Kebbi after she was intercepted by the officers at the Ori border. Reacting, the 18-year-old girl said she was going to Libya on the invitation of her sister who promised her a cleaner job on arrival in the North African country. While receiving the girl from the NIS, NAPTIV head of operation Sadiq Atiku Abubakar said the girl will undergo rehabilitation before rejoining her family. Benue State High Court in Makurdi has on Friday upheld the suspension of PDP National Chairman Ochia Ayu by his Igorov Council Ward of Boko local government area of the state. A PDP in Benue State, Ehide Otan, dragged Ayu to court following his suspension by his Igorov Ward Executive Committee after passing a vote of no confidence on him. Delivering his judgment that lasted for 2 hours, the Chief Judge of Benue State, Justice Maurice Pambese, held that by virtue of Article 8, Section 9 of the Constitution of the PDP, Ayu ceased to be a member of the PDP with his failure to pay his subscription and membership fee. Justice Ipembese held that going by the provisions of Article 46, Section 1 of the PDP Constitution, the Ward Executive of the PDP have the powers to discipline a member of the National Executive Committee of the party. The People's Democratic Party PDP have continued the presentation of its witnesses at the Presidential Election Tribunal challenging election of President Bola Tinubu and his vice Kashim Shettima. The witnesses, who were party agents in Niger, Borno and Ebonyi states, told the tribunal the actual election results were not what INEC presented. The Labour Party, on its part, presented election results sheets from Lagos, Oyo, Edo, Bayelsa, Akwa Ibom and Adamawa states, which were admitted as evidence. Counsels to Bola Tinubu, APC and INEC, however, opposed admissibility of the documents tendered as evidence by the Labour Party.
Now you can see we are continuing with the calling of witnesses in support of our case. We have already tendered our documents as the petitioners. So this is the process of calling oral evidence in support of the documents we've already tendered. Yesterday we called a number of witnesses. Today we've called another set of witnesses. And as we progress, as the days unfold, we'll continue to call witnesses as the case may be.
The Lamidi Apapa faction of the Labour Party LP has appealed to Peter Obi, the party's presidential candidate, to withdraw the case filed at the Presidential Election Petitions Tribunal due to concerns about his perceived lack of commitment in pursuing the matter. Speaking to journalists in Abuja on Friday, Abayomi Arabambi, the factional national publicity secretary of the party, highlighted that Obi has failed to provide substantial evidence to support his claims since the PEPT sessions began. Arabambi also addressed the issue of fuel subsidy removal and criticized the Nigerian Labour Congress NLC and Trade Union Congress TUC for rejecting the new pump price of petrol.
When they wrote that letter to INEC that Obi could not pay 1.5 million, who are they deceiving? Council was sick, who are they deceiving? Just 2 out of many of them, they stole the court process when time is already against our party. They are aware that election process are sui generis. It doesn't wait for anybody. And yesterday, like I said, the court had to give them a stand down of 10 minutes to fight their process, but they came back and you heard what the court told them, that they are not serious. So where is the stolen mandate that we are running after when the 5 justices unanimously passed out damning verdict that Mr. Peter Obi is not serious?
The 17 suspended local government chairmen in Plateau on Friday say Governor Caleb Mutfwang and the State House of Assembly do not have legitimate power to suspend them, stressing that they are still the legal chairmen of their respective local government councils. The chairmen disclosed this on Friday in a press conference in Jos, following a press release by the Special Assistant to the Governor, Geng Bere, on Thursday, suspending the chairman over alleged financial misappropriation. Ado Musa has the report.
The announcement of the suspension of the embattled chairman was first issued by the Speaker of the State House of Assembly, Nuhu Abok, at a preliminary on Thursday. Some hours after, the State Governor, Barrister Caleb Mutfwang, in a statement corroborated the resolution of the House, maintaining that the recommendation for the suspension was based on the chairman's inability to make available records of their income and expenditure to the House since they assumed office. But in a swift reaction to the position of the governor, the chairman say neither the governor nor the members of the State House of Assembly has constitutional power to suspend them.
Before the purported suspension, the 17 local government chairmen and the Legislative Council had approached the court, invoking its interpretative jurisdiction to determine, among others, whether the governor has the powers to terminate, suspend, truncate, or distort their tenure in the light of Section 7 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria as amended, which states that the system of local government by democratically elected local government council is under this constitution guaranteed.
The chairman further insists that they remain the chairman of their respective local government areas, pending the determination of the suit against the action of the governor and the House.
We have no force of good, but we believe in the force of the law, and we believe that the force of the law will prevail. We will report this brazen affront on the law to the court, which we had run for protection. We have abiding faith in the judiciary to invoke the disciplinary powers to overturn this unconstitutional behavior. In the eyes of the law, we remain chairman and councillors respectively until the court determines otherwise.
The chairman described the suspension as politically motivated, stressing that they are ready to defend allegations leveled against them. Adon Musa, Trust TV News, Jos.
Since the inauguration of Dukku Ratda as Katsina State Governor on Monday, residents have been expressing divergent views on the areas the governor should give priority. There is, however, consensus among them on addressing security challenges confronting the state. Abdullahi Ahmadi reports that the residents set agenda for the new administration that will pilot the affairs of the state till 2027. His report.
Katsina residents have high expectations from the administration of Dukku Ratda because of peculiar challenges in the state. Katsina, being one of the frontline states ravaged by insecurity, has been battling with this monster for close to a decade, and many residents expect nothing less from the governor.
Katsina State is bedeviled with so many issues, so many problematic issues, especially when it comes to the issue of security. You know, Katsina State is one of the frontline states that are having the challenge of insecurity. So I think Dukku Ratda should put more emphasis on tackling security, because without security, even he himself, despite the fact that he will be protected by security agencies, he will not sleep with his two eyes closed if as a very good leader. So he should tackle the issue of security, and in tackling the issue of security, he has to look at what caused poverty in Katsina State.
I sympathize with the new governor, but I pray honestly and sincerely to Almighty God that Dukku Ratda does not fail. Dukku Ratda should not fail. Dukku Ratda cannot afford to fail the people of Katsina State, because really, honestly, everybody in Katsina State is aware, and we are very much desirous of change and improvement in life standards from what we witnessed in the last 8 years.
Another opposer from the residents is whether the administration will find a magic wand to address the problems within a short period of time.
Over the next 4 years, our task as government is to provide peace and prosperity for the people of Katsina State. The insecurity issues will be paramount of this administration, and I will deploy all available resources to end banditry and criminality across the state, inshallah.
Political observers from within and outside the state are interested in seeing what the governor can do in his first 100 days in office. Abdullahi Ismail Ahmadi, Trust Television News, Katsina.
You are watching News Hour on Trust TV. Coming off after the break, we take a look at how renewable energy is transforming lives. Details of these and more after the break. Don't go away.
That's great. It's good to see you.
This is Trust News Hour. Let's take a look at the recap of our top stories. Nigerian Labour Congress begins nationwide strike on Wednesday over subsidy. And President Tinubu appoints Chief of Staff Secretary to the Government of the Federation, meets APC stake governors. Now moving on to other stories. Lassa fever has so far killed 162 persons across 28 states since the beginning of this year. This was stated by the Nigerian Center for Disease Control and Prevention in a situation report released on Thursday. The NCDC said 944 confirmed cases and 5,593 suspected cases of the disease were recorded within the period. The states include Ondo, Edo, Bauchi, Taraba, Benue, Plateau, Ebonyi, Nasarawa, Kogi, Taraba, Gombe, Enugu, Kano, Jigawa, Oyo, and FCT, among others. The report said 72% of all confirmed Lassa fever cases in 2023 were reported from Ondo, Edo, and Bauchi states, and 28% were from 25 states with confirmed Lassa fever cases. It also said the number of suspected cases increased compared to that reported for the same period in 2022. Blind students at the Special Education Center Gombe have called on governments and philanthropists to provide braille reading materials for students in the school. This comes as the students struggle to study amidst insufficient learning materials meant for the blind. Ibrahim Ismail reports.
The blind students, who comprised those in primary and secondary school level, said they find it difficult to read due to inadequate textbooks transcribed in braille form, and the situation has made learning very difficult. Lack of braille textbooks is a big problem because we can't study without them. But our teachers can do more with the reading materials. I am happy about the book donation because our teachers find it difficult to prepare lecture notes. They often seek assistance to transcribe on braille. The Nigeria Association for the Blind is coming to their aid with over 150 copies of textbooks in 18 subjects.
Chinua Achebe, Wole Soyinka has made a lot of novels that are quite interesting that our students need to read. And it is available in accessible format. When I went to UK, I saw a lot of textbooks produced by Chinua Achebe, Wole Soyinka in braille. In braille. And these are Nigerian writers. But a Nigerian student does not have access to it. This is irony. What is happening? So this is something that we can have, and Nigeria Association of the Blind, we say we want to cite an example and encourage the government to put in more money so that these books can be produced. Lack of education has made our people to become beggars.
They were here the other times inquiring for our curriculum, textbooks. And we gave them, then they go and transcribe it into braille. So for now, we have no barrier to education. Our blind students have no obstacle.
Despite being the only public school for the blind and deaf in Gombe State, students and teachers said the school lacks landscaping, a challenge that hinders safe movement by blind students and teachers in addition to multiple problems. Ibrahim Ismail, Trust TV News, Gombe.
Despite waking up to a bleak future as a result of their present condition as Almajiris, some of these young boys roaming the streets of Kano State are desirous of a better future. To this end, residents are calling on government at all levels to make education free and accessible for all children of school age, to enable them actualize their dreams. Hamid Oyebade, who was in Kano, files in the report.
It is not a strange sight to see young boys known as Almajiri begging for food along major streets in Kano State and other parts of the north. They lack access to Western education, as many of them only attend Makaranta, where they learn Arabic language and Islamic doctrines. But this does not prevent them from aspiring to become successful in life.
I would also love to acquire Western education, but that is left for my parents to decide, because they brought me to Kano solely to seek Quranic education. I want to become the president of Nigeria so that I can improve the lives of the poor like me.
Some Kano residents called on government to provide education for the Almajiri boys and all children to enable them achieve their full potentials in life.
When you reach that area, railway, if you go railway, you see many Almajiri, the beggy woman and boys.
In my view, government can do a lot, like dialoguing with Islamic scholars to seek advice on strategies to adopt. In Kano, we have a very large number of Almajiris, and they can only feel the impact of government when government dialogue with Islamic scholars. Government also needs to help these Islamic scholars to take stock of the large number of Almajiri and provide some basic necessities that they require to excel in their studies.
Meanwhile, the United Nations Children Fund says more needs to be done to protect children and secure the future for them.
There are efforts here and there, but there's room for us to do more. Regularly submit the report to the committee on the child in the UN. There's need for us to regularly submit that report. There's need for us to focus and look at those indicators we've highlighted for tracking. That has to do with issues of children. We need to look at that, the birth registration coverage, the services available for children in conflict with the law, the availability of family courts. There are a whole lot of issues that indicators that we need to track for cases of child protection, child survival, the entire child's right. And so I think there's need for us to do more.
UNICEF also sought the support of the media in ensuring the prompt implementation of Child Rights Law 2023 across all the states in Nigeria. Amid Oyegbade, Trust TV News.
As the world grapples with effects of climate change, many communities are turning attention to renewable energy sources to reduce carbon emission. In Katsina State, the inadequate electricity supply has forced many to adopt solar energy as an alternative. In this report, Jamil Mabai highlights the impact of government's failure to provide basic needs such as electricity to citizens. Take a look.
Businesses, households, and corporate offices are switching to solar energy. According to them, it is reliable and carbon footprint friendly.
The greatest importance of solar is giving you energy independence. You do not have to rely on the main grid electricity for you to use electricity. It gives you efficiency, it gives you productivity, it also gives you peace and satisfaction. Governments, organizations, and NGOs all over the world are trying to find ways to cut down on this carbon emission that we are having in the world. Solar is one-stop shop for this.
Recent statistics show that the average number of solar energy users in Katsina State has increased from 5 to 9% in the last 2 years.
This is a set of scan alone.
This is primarily because many people have lost trust in government's ability to provide their basic needs.
You do not have to rely on the main grid electricity for you to use electricity. It is an example is you get home at 10 p.m. in the night, having a work to do, without having to wait for NEPA, PKEDCO to bring light for you. You just get ahead work.
The lack of electricity in Katsina has been a major challenge for businesses, forcing many to rely on expensive and environmentally harmful generators. Abubakar operates a poultry farm that requires constant energy supply. He believes that utilizing solar energy will give him an edge over his competitors.
We need constant light from the day you put your eggs for hatching. That was why we had to go back to solar energy. If we rely on government electricity, it will fail us. Generators can be faulty sometimes. plus services and petrol, the easiest way was to go back to solar energy.
Solar energy is becoming increasingly popular despite its high installation cost. It is a wise long-term investment that pays off in the end. Not only it is cheaper in the long run, but also environmental friendly. Jamilu Mabai, Trust TV, Katsina.
The Borno State Command of NDLEA has said it has seized over 15,000 kilograms of illicit drugs in Borno State for the last 3 years. The Borno State Commandant of National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, H.R. Joseph, disclosed this in Maiduguri during a courtesy visit at the press center. He said the agency was able to record successive operations against drug dealers with collaboration with other security agencies. He lamented that abuse of drugs still persists and remains a huge menace to combat in the state, saying that Nigerians can help with intelligence information to help in the fight against circulation of hard drugs and its usage.
Within 3 years, I'm happy to tell you that the command has once again secured all the necessary approvals for the destruction of 15,500 kilograms of illicit hard drugs. This is a feat that I don't think is comparable to anywhere apart from the states down south where these things are cultivated and, where the business is more active. But when you come up north here, this hardly happens.
The Rivers State Police Command says its operatives have busted a baby factory run by a child trafficking syndicate. The rescue operations, which took place in the Alu area of Ikure local government area of the state, led to the rescue of 6 pregnant girls and arrest of 2 suspects. Report.
The women, aged between 20 and 23 years, were being held with the intention to trade their babies after they were delivered of them. The pregnant women were arrested alongside the operator of the child trafficking center, Akudo Azoru, who confessed to running the illegal business. Azoru explained that she gives out the babies to families who do not have children of their own and not ritualists. She noted that the women were already pregnant when they came to her, adding that she pays them depending on the stage of the pregnancy and the gender of the child.
It's for a girl. A boy is 1.5. You are welcome to do. I will give her like 800, 900. If now from 5 months, I give 600, say 650. If not 3 months, I pay 350, 400.
This lady called me. They came and arrested me over child trafficking. So she accused that she has given me a pregnant woman, which I accepted. She gave me one. That was about 6 years ago. Yes. So when she gave me this lady, I now gave it out to somebody. The woman that I gave it out to gave me 30,000.
Child trafficking suspects narrating their ordeal, some of the pregnant victims acknowledged that they went to the factory with the intention to give out their children after birth.
They told me that they will take care of me, that I will deliver the baby and sell it. They will give me my own money and take their own, then I can go. My mommy told me that I should not go and meet the guy if I don't want to suffer. I should just go and do child trafficking. I told my mom I've never done before, and my daddy did not know.
Meanwhile, the State Commissioner of Police, Umuyi Polycarp Emeka, has advised parents and guardians to be security conscious with regard to their children and wards and promptly report any suspicious activities or persons to the nearest police station.
The police in Ibadan have declared Mokele Lamidi, a former chairman of the state's disciplinary committee for park management system, wanted after discovering a cache of arms at his residence. The former NURTW boss is wanted for alleged armed robbery, gun running, illegal possession of firearms, alleged kidnapping, amongst other crimes. Briefing news meant at the headquarters of the State Police Command in Ibadan, Police Public Relations Officer Adewale Osifeso assured residents of adequate security and urged the public to cooperate in sustained efforts against crimes. Our correspondent has more details on this report.
It's yet another shocking discovery after a midnight raid
on the Olodo residence of the former chairman disciplinary committee for the Oyo State Park Management System. 2 submachine guns, 70 rounds of AK-47 ammunitions, over 400 brand new cutlasses, and other dangerous items have been unearthed.
The Commissioner of Police has ordered a complete restructuring of the security architecture of the command to immediately nip any emerging threat and to completely subdue evolving ones. Moving forward, residents shall witness high-octane patrols, intensified stop and search at designated points across the state, continuous raids of black spots and criminal hideouts, and of course, intelligence-led surveillance activities.
In the sting operation, the dragnet of security operatives also apprehended this young man with substances suspected to be hard drugs worth millions of naira.
On the command intelligence watch list for sales and distribution of drugs was cited in possession of loads of banned substances suspected to be hard drugs during the raid. He has since voluntarily confessed to the crime and identified his distribution network with huge clientele base.
The past few days had witnessed recurring clashes amongst various factions of the Transport Workers Union, purportedly orchestrated by Mukaila Lamidi. In a bid to stem this disturbing tide, security agents have declared the former chairman wanted and have called on the general public to furnish them with information that could lead to his arrest.
You are still watching News Hour on Trust TV. More stories after this break. Do stay with us.
Trust TV, documenting the Nigerian story.
Welcome back. Customer care service in the banking sector has been an issue among bank customers who have always had issues that need to be addressed. These issues were worsened by the recent Naira swap policy, which strengthened banks' digital platforms. In this report, Trust TV's Zainab Garai takes a look at the effectiveness of the customer care services in the banking amidst the many complaints by customers. The report.
At the core of any successful business is a valuable customer care unit that helps customers in their discovery, use, and troubleshooting of a product or service. This is even more crucial for the banking sector, which deals with personal finances of individuals, corporate organizations, small business, and government.
I keep imagining, how can the bank not have a network? What's the whole instance of banking system when you don't have a network? So I think CBN should have rules. I think there are rules, but it's not just being effective. So I think they should make this rule effective that, okay, these are some measures some banks have to put in place so that they don't frustrate their customer. Like, for instance, today, I wanted to check my bank app. I couldn't open it. And I can't become member. Other of my colleagues were having the same complaints. And when we even tried the ATM card in the POS, we tell you ATM cannot work.
In Abuja, however, customers told Trust TV News that the services from the customer care units of financial institutions is way below expectations as several issues and complaints remain unattended despite officially lodging them after days, weeks, and even months.
I've really had a bad situation with some security personnel, whereby honestly the treatment we got that day was so inhumane. Like, nobody that saves money with a bank should experience such. So I think banks should should improve on every aspect.
Other customers advise stakeholders in the banking sector to give their customer care representatives the needed orientation to effectively handle complaints from customers.
There's a process of complaining. CBN have a complaint mechanism, a number 200 or so. Now, before you can call CBN expects you to have go to your bank and complain. And when you are complaining, they expect to give you a form. You fill that form, then you generate a code, right? That code is what you can escalate if you are not attended to within 3 days as it were. But I think the central bank needs to do more so that Nigeria will not suffer.
Residents in the FCT are hopeful that an enhanced customer service desk will better guide them in their financial decisions and reduce issues arising from inadequate information about banks, products, and services. Zainab Garai, Trust TV News, Abuja.
And on the foreign scene, Sudan's conflict has continued for a 7th continuous week, where fighting has propelled the nation into an all-out war. Since fighting between dueling generals from the Sudanese army and its rival paramilitary Rapid Support Forces, RSF, broke out on April 15th. The country has plunged into a humanitarian crisis with more than 1,800 people killed. The United Nations says at least 1.6 million displaced within the country or across its borders, with many fleeing to Egypt, Chad, and South Sudan. Multiple ceasefires have been violated by both parties, and Saudi and United States brokered peace negotiations have now been suspended. On Thursday, the U.S. had imposed the first sanctions related to the conflict in Sudan, warning that it will hold accountable all those undermining peace in the Northeast African country. Let's now join Adini Ajeshafe for the sports news.
Four basketball teams representing Mogadishu Cantonment, Mambila Barracks, Lungi Barracks, and G-Ram Basketball Club from Bauchi State are participating in 2023 Major General Gagariga Basketball Under-17 Classics in a round-robin basis. The Under-17 basketball event is to create sporting opportunities for kids, especially those in the barracks, as a platform to showcase their sports talent to keep them away from social vices. The Inter-Barracks Basketball Classics Abuja dunk off on Thursday at the Gymnasium of Mogadishu Cantonment on day one of the 3-day tournament. Lungi Barracks lost 42-50 to Mogadishu Cantonment, while Mbila Barracks defeat G-Ranks basketball team of Bauchi 49-23 in Game 2. In football, Nigerian Super Eagles will begin campaign for their Match Day 5 in 2023 Africa Cup of Nations qualifier against Sierra Leone on 11th June 2023 in Lagos, a week before playing at Samuel Canyon Stadium in Monrovia, Liberia. The Leon Stars have played all their home qualifiers away from home following CAF's rejection of their stadia for not meeting global standard. Super Eagles Group A leaders will camp in Lagos for the game and will train at Mobolaji Johnson Arena. Super Eagles are hoping to qualify for 2023 Continental Showcase after their poor showing at 2021 edition in Cameroon. Jose Pizarro-led Eagles currently top Group A with 9 points as the team need a win in their 2 remaining matches to book AFCON ticket. Sierra Leone are third on the log with 5 points from 4 matches, 2 points behind second place Guinea-Bissau. All 3 teams have equal chances of qualifying for the tournament as only the best 2 teams will secure the tickets from the group. Nigeria will play their last qualifier on September 8 against bottom-place Sao Tome and Principe at Godwill Akpabio Stadium, Uyo, Akwa Ibom State. That's Sport News. I'm Adeniyi Ajishafe.
And with that, we have come to the end of News Hour tonight. Do not forget to follow us across all our media platforms and our YouTube live stream. I am Abdurrahman Omar. Thanks for watching and bye for now.
From the Daily Trust News Center, this is the News Hour.